me before you begin. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm here for a grievance concerning a current school board trustee. It seems there is a small group of people that want Granbury to turn away from its conservative heritage. In the last several elections, our family has talked with thousands, and I do mean thousands, of voters. And the vast majority of these voters are conservative and lean towards Christian values. Our family in the last election was simply volunteering at the voting locations, thanking voters for voting and handing out voter guides. We discussed with voters who came to us which candidates we felt would follow conservative Republican values. For this we were bullied by representatives of the named school board re-election team. Mind you, my wife was not running for office, was only volunteering. The treasurer of the school board's trustee re-election team was very rude, and I mean that lightly, to our family, while the trustee sat by and did nothing to stop the bullying that this trustee fully understands is wrong and not acceptable based on oaths they made as a trustee. Our voice was purposely being attacked in an effort to silence our voice. We were made out to be a spectacle in public while trying to serve the public that you say you represent. We ask that the named school board trustee step down and receive counseling for bullying, as they allowed bullying to take place by people they put in leadership. To state that this grievance has no merit would be a travesty to this community. There was some work done. This is not a small issue. Again, my family was only volunteering. We, along with our citizens of this community, have been bullied and personally attacked for their desire to keep a conservative heritage in Hood County. We ask that this school board use its power to help promote conservative Christian values and stop bullying and start listening. GISD has great schools, great teachers, great employees, and great students. We ask that the board follow suit. Our family, 10 seconds please. Our family is not the enemy.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Your time is up. Our next speaker is Monica Brown.
So what I've handed you today is the Code of Fair Campaign Practices that you all signed to even become a candidate for election. There's also the Election Code Title 15, Regulating Political Funds and Campaigns, Chapter 258, Fair Campaign Practices. There are basic principles of decency, honesty, and fair play that every candidate and political committee in this state has a moral obligation to observe and uphold. The fact that you wouldn't give him 10 seconds and you decided, Ms. Alana, that we couldn't have our oral presentations behind closed doors is an absolute shame. The fact that every 1, 2, 3, 4 of you are part of the Gore campaign team by your activities, and you're standing here judging us today is a shame. There are major issues starting at the top. The way y'all treated Karen Lowry, a shame. What you let Glenn do was a shame. But we are here, we're not going away. We'll be at the next board meeting most likely unless something happens that prevents it. But we're going to step up and stand up, and we're standing up for free political speech. There were 2 things I was incorrect on, and as soon as I noticed it, I changed it. Now, our sweetheart who is on the board votes liberal. Okay? And many of you, including another one, Paula McDonald, didn't listen to me. Oh no.
Excuse me.
This is a grievance about political speech being, I know exactly what I'm talking about, and I know who you are. Okay, listen, I'll just say this. We want future relief of this kind of grievance, okay? We want campaigns to be based on facts as much as possible. This community is going to speak up about whether they think you vote liberal or conservative. You aren't going to stop that. We as a community are not supportive of harassment or bullying of any kind. You were present the very day that Courtney sat there for 2 hours with vile music playing toward me and my family. I sent my kids away. I didn't make them listen to it. She bobbed her head around and had a little party by herself while she did that. Now, I don't think you knew that was going on. By the time they moved the music to your side, they put on reasonable, decent music. But that's the team you're on, and I don't think you're unaware. We are not supportive of screeching and screaming in front of anyone. We're not supportive of sexually explicit music or any other means to harm any citizen, and especially young people, as part of a campaign tactic. We are not supportive of shutting down political speech. It is protected in this nation and in this city. And this city is full. I don't care if you're Christian or not. There's people here who aren't Christians who have great values, common sense, old-fashioned. So I'm not agreeing with any of what's happened. It isn't funny. And you are well aware, and you guys, I've got pictures of you here with some of the creepiest people in town who say things that are absolutely lies, and you do nothing about it, and you actually have an obligation to do something about it.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to say how disappointed I am that this is now the 2nd grievance complaint against Trustee Gore in less than 2 years. Second, this grievance should be held in public with oral presentation since the matter is paramount and of public concern and interest. It is regarding the harassment, slander, libel, condonement thereof, by Trustee Gore, who was recently re-elected and voted board president by all but 2 of you. What is further disheartening is that this grievance proves Trustee Gore did not uphold her moral obligation to observe the Election Code of Fair Campaign Practices, which is expected of all candidates in the state of Texas. This grievance is confirmation that Trustee Gore needs to be removed from office immediately. If you have done your due diligence and gone through the packet, then you see that there are multiple documented incidences of harassment, slander, and libel. Most of what occurred had nothing to do with the election directly, but was rather a deliberate campaign practice to attack the Brown family, their religious beliefs, and a means to intimidate voters and discourage them from voting for the trustee's opponent, a violation of those campaign practices. I quote, "The worst day was Sunday, October 27th, 2024, at the Hood County Annex polling location. The trustee chose music that included adult sexual themes and profanity. Then her group began to play a video, sound blaring, of a personal family matter. The trustee sat down the entire time and bobbed her head to the beat of the music and laughed along with her son and the 2 other campaign representatives. She aired these things in front of the children and showed no concern. These are just some of the actions showing her explicit intent to harm the Browns by harassment and slander and her failure to observe the Election Code fair practices. This form that you have states that there are basic principles of decency, honesty, and fair play that every candidate, and political committee in this state has a moral obligation to observe and uphold. The fact that Trustee Gore would laugh along with this malicious behavior rather than end it, required by that form, is egregious and shows a failure of moral obligation to observe those practices. Trustee Gore needs to publicly acknowledge her compliance and condonement of these behaviors against the Brown family. She also needs to publicly apologize for her failure to uphold those campaign practices. And most importantly, she needs to resign from her position. It is the responsibility of the public to hold their elected officials accountable for their actions and behaviors. By her conduct, Trustee Gore shows she is not suitable for public office. The board needs to take immediate action against Gore. Every one of you took an oath to uphold ethics based on your decision on fact rather than supposition, opinion, or favor, and to uphold applicable laws, policies, and governances. Failing to do so puts you in direct violation of your official duties. It also implies that you condone this malicious behavior, and most significantly, by taking no action, the board is complicit in the condonement of these behaviors and the failure to uphold the practices that elected officials are expected to uphold. It's time to do the right thing and take action when it is clearly warranted. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Shannon Wolf.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Wolf. I'm also the chairwoman of the Republican Voter Engagement for Hood County, and Monica Brown was working as a volunteer for the Republican Party of Hood County. I was often present at the Annex Republican tent during early voting, and Monica was over that particular location engaging voters. Our goal was to elect Republicans to office. As a private citizen, she had the absolute right to give her opinion on school board matters, but the main goal that Monica did very well was to get Republicans elected. I was at that tent multiple times, and I was an eyewitness to much of this behavior. This is not hearsay. I witnessed sexual harassment of Monica in front of children by people that Courtney Gore chose to put into power and to represent her. She knew about some of the things that were going on, and she allowed these people to remain at her voting location, at her tent, and they were yelling things such as sexual kinds of things about Monica. They were saying things that Monica was going to go to hell in front of her children. To the public, yelling at voters. Courtney was there for some of this. She saw it. She did nothing. That's on her. Now, I do believe that you cannot control what another adult does. I believe that. That is true. But you absolutely can control who you choose to represent you. If you know that someone who is representing you is doing bad things, you remove them. She did not. On that Sunday, she participated. Did you know that we're aware of a Monica playlist? Did you know that? We know of a Monica playlist. That playlist was being played on Sunday, which include obscene sexual lyrics in music. Now, it's not just that they had this music playing at their tent. They turned speakers right up against the Republican Party tent on both ends and turned the music up so loud we could not have conversations. Is that not bullying? Of course it is. Yep. Of course it is. Not only was it sexually explicit music in front of a 6-year-old child, sexually explicit music, foul language, and then the children got to hear their brother's voice. A 16-year-old girl with tearful eyes approached them, asking them to turn it off, and only then did they turn the brother off. We're watching the board.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf.